Are you looking for a way to market your bookkeeping business? Now, what I'm going to share with you is an unconventional way that works extremely well. In fact, it's really predictable, it's really tactical. You don't have to have anything go viral. I am going to talk to you about YouTube, and I'm going to share with you a 6-ingredient formula that if you follow this formula, your videos will rank to the top of YouTube. You'll generate leads from YouTube, and you don't have to worry about anything going viral. The videos that you create will generate leads for you for years and years to come. Now, you don't have to be a Mr. Beast if you don't know who he is. He's got the biggest YouTube channel, but I actually don't want you to create a channel like what he's created because his focus is ad revenue. Your focus, my focus, is leveraging YouTube to generate leads for a business. So I want your bookkeeping business to grow. We're going to create a specific type of video that will pull in people who need help with bookkeeping. Let's dive right in. So I'm going to teach you a 6-ingredient strategy. I call it my leaf strategy. Now, if you look at my screen here, it only shows 5, but I'm going to share with you a 6th one after this. Ingredient number 1 is leaf titles. Now, leaf titles are critical, but what do I mean by leaf titles, leaf strategy? Let me share with you my tree analogy first. Okay, so you've got a tree, it's got a broad trunk that goes out to branches, that goes out to the limbs, and then at the end you've got the leaves. The trunk of this tree represents your core area of expertise, okay, so that it's bookkeeping or something like that. All the different branches or all the different categories in this area of expertise, and the leaves are the specific questions that your target audience is asking. So let me give you an example, and let's just shift for just a minute and pretend that instead of bookkeeping, let's pretend you're a productivity expert. Okay, so if that were the trunk of your tree, a good example of a leaf would be what can increase productivity in a dental office. Or another leaf would be how to improve productivity on a construction site. Now, you can't make these questions up. You have to do research to find what are the questions that people are actually asking, and in your case, what are they asking about bookkeeping on Google and YouTube. Okay, so let me demonstrate this, and let's just type in the phrase here, track business expenses. All right, and what this tool is, it's called the Keyword Magic tool. Discovered this tool about 5 years ago, and it was a game changer. You can get a free trial of this tool if you go to herokeywordtool.com. Okay, so you type this in there. I'm going to hit search, and I'm going to turn on the questions button there. And let's look down at this list. How to keep track of business expenses. This one's the same question, but it has the word spreadsheet in it. How to keep track of expenses for small business. And I can scroll down just to see if there's anything else unique that stands out. This one talks about expenses and income. This one talks about using Google Sheets. This one down here, what's the best app to track business expenses? All right, I'm going to scroll back up to the top and just show you another example. Invoice clients. So if a business owner is looking to know, like, how can I do that? So how to invoice a client, or how to get a client to pay an invoice. What do you do if a client doesn't pay an invoice? That's the same question. How long do they have? How often? How to ask them to pay it? What about an overdue invoice? How to invoice clients for freelance work? How to invoice a client for services? How to do it if they're a freelancer? How to do it if they're in India? So, and you can scroll down the list just to see that there's a lot of different topics. Now, each of these questions, even if they just have a subtle difference, it's a great idea to make an episode answering each one of these questions. So this question becomes episode 1. This question becomes episode 2. Let me show you what that will do. I'm going to jump over here to a spreadsheet where I collected a lot of this research for one of my clients. This is Noelle Randall. She teaches real estate investing, okay? So I would group a lot of these questions into what I call a topic tree. So this specific branch has these 4 words in common: real estate investor find. And real estate investor become is another branch, okay, all of these questions. So I showed these 2 branches to Noelle, and she looked at this first branch and she said, you know what, when I look at it like this, that's not my target audience. I don't need to dominate YouTube for those questions. But when she looked at this branch, she's like, oh wow, that is definitely my target audience. I want to rank for every single one of those. How can I dominate YouTube for that? So the first step was to look, to see, because I'd been producing her channel for 4 years by this point, and we'd made a lot of content, so we wanted to see, do I rank for any of these already? Well, we started typing in these questions to YouTube and checking. If we got a yes, that means that her YouTube videos showed up at the top, within the top 3 on YouTube. Starting means we had to scroll down but we found her somewhere in the top 20. And a no means that she didn't show up there. All right, so in this branch that she did not want to dominate because it wasn't her target audience, you see that she actually had a good amount of traction. There's a lot of yeses there. But for this branch that she wants to dominate, that is her target audience, you see it's mostly no's. There's only 2 yeses on this whole branch. Looks like she filmed 5 of them in February, a few more in March, a few more in April. So by April 18th, you see that we had turned some of these no's into yeses. By May 16th, even more. So we've only have 1 no. By July 3rd, look how many yeses. Basically, we dominate this branch of real estate investor become. Okay, so I've only covered the first ingredient so far. I can go through the other 4 pretty quick, but that's how important leaf titles are, which is your first ingredient. Ingredient number 2 is 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, so we're not talking about YouTube shorts or like Instagram or TikTok videos. We're talking about a 10 to 12 minute episode. You really want to give value. You want to answer their question pretty thoroughly in about 10 minutes. Ingredient number 3 is you want a 50% or higher retention rate. So if you have a 10-minute episode, when people click on it, if they immediately leave, that's not so good. Some people will though. Other people will watch all the way to the end. So you look at the average, and YouTube will give you this data. You can just look at each individual video, or you can look at the data for your overall channel, and you'll see what your average retention rate is. If you have 50% or higher, YouTube will promote those videos to more and more of your target audience. Ingredient number 4 is custom thumbnails. Now let me share with you some advice on that. First of all, thumbnails are very important and they can be pretty tricky, so you've got to do some testing. This is a thumbnail for Paul Jenkins. He's a positivity psychologist, and you'll notice the text in red on one and the text in blue on the other, and the results are surprisingly different. The red one had a 6.6% click-through rate, the blue one 8.3. Who knew? Like, who knew that more people would click on the blue? That's not a rule. You don't need to just choose blue all the time, but you want to do testing. And if you were to do a red and blue test, the red one might be better. I don't know. The good news is YouTube built in a feature that allows you to do tests like this. So here's what me and my team do. For one of my videos, I had them create 6 different thumbnail ideas. You see they're all drastically different here, but this is all for one episode so that I could look at it and say, you know what, I like this one and I like that one. Let's actually tweak B2 to have this text in there. Well, what YouTube allows you to do now is instead of just uploading one custom thumbnail, you can actually upload 2 or even 3, and it will test all 3 of them. It will, on this one, then it'll display the next one, and for a period of time it'll display this one and compare the click-through rates. And so after a period of weeks, you'll be able to know which thumbnail is best. To give you another example, here are 6 thumbnails that we designed for Dr. Carrie Ann Perkins just for one of her episodes. She's an OBGYN, and these are the ideas we had for one of her episodes. So this is Jason Schroeder, and these are 9 different thumbnails that we created just for one of his episodes. Here's Noelle Randall. You can see that we had 9 different thumbnail ideas for one of her episodes. So either way, you've got to create custom thumbnails, and I recommend doing some tests like this on YouTube. Ingredient number 5 is you've got to launch 5 episodes per week. Okay, now that's a lot. I consider that daily content, but I also recommend that you film in batches. My best recommendation is for you to just take an entire day, set it aside for filming. If you film 9 to 5, you can film 20 episodes in a single day. So that means launching 5 episodes a week, that's going to last you 4 weeks. Okay, so 5 episodes a week is my best recommendation. You can also get started with just 1 episode a week. That's the minimum I recommend. Your growth will be more gradual, but over time you can increase from 1 episode a week to 2 and so forth. If you follow this strategy for a year and you're just launching 1 episode per week, it's still very realistic for you to bring in a 6-figure revenue stream where you're generating leads for your business, and those sales add up to 6 figures. If you launch 5 episodes per week and you do this for a year, many times we've turned that into a 7-figure revenue stream for these businesses. Okay, so what is ingredient number 6? Well, ingredient number 6 is you want to give them a free gift, right? You could offer them a PDF download, or you can offer them a free plus shipping book, or you can offer them a webinar or invite them to a live webinar. So a free gift works really well to turn viewers into leads. Now, something else that you can do is you can offer like a mini course, something that's not too expensive. So I do have an option for you. It's a mini course that costs $17, It's called the YouTube Lead Gen Blueprint. You can go to youtubeleadgen.net. Now let me show you what results you'll get. So if I come to YouTube and I type in here, are fixed annuities a good investment, and I hit search, notice we've got Stan the Annuity Man at the top. Okay, you see him on the thumbnail wall behind me. Or another example, let me replace this question with 10 things you should never say to your child. Notice we've got Paul Jenkins at the top, we've got Nicolene Peck the second. Both people are on the wall behind me because I produce their channels. You'll notice that I haven't shown any bookkeeping examples, but there are so many bookkeeping questions people are asking. I want you to dominate YouTube for bookkeeping. So if you go to youtubeleadgen.net, take this course, you'll be able to complete it in a handful of hours. It's only $17, and you too can leverage YouTube for lead gen. I'll see you there.